So with your permission, now that we are live and the call started, may we begin? Good evening, everyone. I, Dakshita Dubey, on behalf of the team of First Asia-Pacific VIS Moot, welcome you all to today's webinar, Getting Started with VIS Moot. What makes the First Asia-Pacific VIS Moot unique is that it is one of a kind and inclusive of everyone's participation. The ideology behind this moot is to step out of the ordinary and provide an exposure for holistic development and learning. This is an exciting new competition that aims to give training to young budding lawyers and students to improve their skills in advocacy and arbitration. This pre-moot will be an essential part of training for students and arbitrators planning to attend the VIS Moot and the VIS East Moot. The skills learned here will also be a key component for future careers in arbitration. Today we have with us Dr. Rajesh Sharma, sir, who is currently teaching RMIT University, Melbourne, Australia. Before coming to Australia, sir was an assistant professor at School of Law, City University of Hong Kong. We have sir with us today to share his expertise on the matters of the importance of pre-moot in the legal arena. Dr. Rajesh, sir, I'm sure that our attendees are waiting to hear from you about this, so I won't take up much time now. We welcome you, sir. The floor is all yours.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much all the participants who are here. And we warmly welcome you for this first webinar. And as Dakshita was saying, we just want to emphasize the whole purpose of this program, the pre-moot and all these trainings. Generally, all these trainings are given by the coaches to their team exclusively. And generally the coaches, they do not share these skills with everyone. But here, our idea is that everybody should learn these skills. When we say everyone, we are also including those students who have some kind of impairment or disability. For example, they cannot see, they cannot hear, or they cannot talk. So you think about it, all the students with the eyes and ears and speaking ability feel so much intimidated or pressure when they are learning these law courses, and particularly the mooting skills. But think about those students who are not in the system because of their some ability or disability. It is our response now, it is our duty now to include them in this part of learning and knowledge sharing. I have been coaching the VIS team and involved in that for last 25 years. And I can tell you, this is my first time that I'm going to present something with the help of our sign language interpreter. And this is the first time I'm doing such kind of things. And this is for only one reason, that we want to share our knowledge, skills, and experience with all students around the world. It is not only for students from one particular country or any one or few countries. We want to invite everyone. Though our moot competition is called Asia-Pacific, but even Europeans are welcome. Even Africans are welcome. Everybody is welcome, basically. It's open to all. And here, I'm not connected to any team, but whatever I have learned in last 25 years, I'm going to share with you. So for that, VIS Moot starts with the VIS Moot problem. So before we start anything, I want to tell you how to master the facts, how to read the moot problem, and what you can learn from there. This is what I'm going to do. So please pay attention to that. And if you have any question, please feel free to ask. Don't worry. I'm here to help you and to share with you what I want to do. So the very first thing we want to say in the VIS Moot is that you have to deal with the facts. And the facts is given in the moot problem. And for that reason, we say that the moot problem, if you have seen for this year, it is around 45 pages. But I can tell you, this year the students are very lucky to get only 45 pages. Other years, it was 65, 70 pages. And later on, it will increase. It will increase. When you read that document, and I'm sure most of you have seen the Vis Moot problem, it has, in those 45 pages, you will see that so many stories are running together. So many events are happening. It is happening together. It is happening separately. It is happening in 2-3 countries with 2-3 people. And you see that so many people are involved. So what happens when you read for the first time, you will be totally lost, and you do not know what to focus on, how to control that. And most of the time, when the first time students start, they feel very intimidated and they feel very pressured. But I tell you the secret. In the moot problem, the facts which are given to you, they are your friends. They are there to help you. And these facts are already established. So no other team can challenge. If it says that something happened on certain date, it means it happened. Other party cannot deny it. It means whatever the facts are, strong or weak, it is given to you. And you can just accept it, and nobody can challenge it. Then what happens? Because the moot problems or the facts are so complicated or so convoluted that most of the students, they feel very lost in the forest, and they do not remember that what happened. That is not a good thing. A good team, a good student should remember and should understand. At least in 8 months' time, we expect the students to remember the facts very clearly. And in arbitration moot, facts are very helpful to you. If the facts are with you, then it's very easy for you to make an argument and win your case. So that's why if you want to succeed in the Vis Moot, then you have to first master the facts. In order to do that, here is my suggestion. When you first time get the moot problem, just print it out, take it, or on the screen of computer. I suggest you to just do a general reading. General reading is that something from your heart. It's the same like new book or new novel. You have found it. You just want to flip through the pages and you want to keep on reading. Same like a movie. When we go and watch movie, we may not understand everything, but we just enjoy the scene and follow the things. It's same like James Bond movie. If I ask you what happened or what was the story in James Bond movie, most of the time, only thing we can remember is the stunt, the fight, somebody is killing somebody, and those kind of things. We don't go in details at this moment. So what I suggest, that first time, the first reading of the moot problem, you should do it from your heart. Just read it, what it comes. You may not understand several things. You may not understand some of the typical things in the industry or about the law. You may not understand. So many characters are there. You may not remember their name, but that's okay. Don't worry about it. Just read it for the first time without thinking too much and just read it from cover to cover. Finish it that one. Once you read it, you will listen or you will understand some of the story, some part of the story. So something will come in your feeling, it will come to you. So use your feeling, your gut feeling, and think about it. Whose case is strong in your view, or without looking at anything? Who is right? Who is wrong? Who is telling the truth? Something, just feel it. And I said that write down your first reaction that whether claimant should win or the respondent should win. And why? Just write it down, whatever you have understood in there. And I tell you, keep this note somewhere in your file, somewhere in the folder, and I will ask you, or you can on your own check later, and you will be surprised that in many, many times, you will find that what you thought earlier in the very first reading, it is 90% your view is correct. And that's what it happens. Even after the moot, when the moot finishes, you can go back and check your first reaction. You will find the same thing. You will be very surprised that you have come to the same conclusion. What does it mean? It means that when we read the story, read the moot problem, and whatever we feel from our heart, that is very close to what we see. That doesn't mean that your opinion will not change. It might change. So let it be like that. So the first reading is a general reading of that moot without any problem, without any thinking, without worrying about law or anything. So just do that. Then I suggest that we should do the second time reading. Now the second time reading, you have to do with some focus. The reason we want to do it, because we want to prepare a chronology of the facts. Chronology of the facts that we want to see or check the sequence of the facts. What happened, when it happened, and in which sequence it happens. For that, the one very simple thing to do when you start reading the moot problem, take a pen or highlighter, and when you are reading it, anywhere you see the date, just highlight it or circle it. And your focus is just to pick up those timelines. So generally what happens, if the email was sent on 14th of August, then you mark down 14th of August. Just circle it so that you will know about it. So when you read these documents, you will find the dates are given to you. So that's very easy to pick it up. But then if you read carefully in the lines, then you will find some time related reference. For example, they will say 1 month before, couple of days later, same day, same week, early 2020, those kind of indication. So keep an eye on those words which are related to time. So pick it up. This year in the moot problem, you have those things quite written. In the same email or the same letter, on the top, there is a day. In the body, there is a day, date written over there. And after the second paragraph, it says that same week, later on, 2 days after, all those things are there. You need to pick all those things, highlight those things in that one. When you find that, say for example, you read 1 page, then you just think about that on that day, what happened? So take a note of that what happened on that day. That's it. Once you start picking up all those things, then later on you will find that you have picked up all days, time, everything, and you have also noted down what happened on that day. That will help you to make the sequence correctly in that sense. Now, when you prepare, it's very easy to say, for example, 14th of April, 2020. So it's easy to find that and you can write that. But what we suggest that you should use your mobile phone or computer, open the calendar of that year. So say, for example, something happened on 20th of April, 2020. Go to calendar, open it and see whether it is a Friday, it is Monday, which day of the week is that. Try to find that. You will be very surprised that most of the time or sometimes in the moot problem, when we discuss, these days are become very important aspect. For example, in the law, it says that the party should act promptly without any delay. So assuming the email was sent on Saturday when the office is closed and the person who comes on Monday, he replies immediately in the morning. So now the discussion or the argument could be the party can say that you replied to me after 2 days. But the other side can say, no, I replied it immediately because I received the email during the holiday, and the moment I went to office, I replied it. So I did it as soon as possible. I got it. So this kind of a thing, we know that. In the past, we have seen that the email was sent even on the Christmas Eve, even on the New Year's Eve. So the one question is that if somebody sends an email and says that reply me by this evening, so most of the part of the world, when people are celebrating Christmas Eve, is it really understood or believable that somebody will act and do the work and reply the email in Christmas Eve? Is it reasonable or not? So we have to look at this. In this year also, you have an email communication where the person has said that I will reply you after I come back from holiday. And you can check that. These things are there. So what is more important here is to also, with the date, also write days. Which day of the week is that? Now, once you write it, then the sequence will be of different events. Between the events also, what you should do is to take note of that between two communications or two events, how many days of the gap was. So say, for example, it was asked that you reply in 1 week time, or reply in 2 days time, or it was sent someday. Then say the reply of the email when it was given. And then you calculate and put days on that. So you will know that the response was given in 2 days time, or 2 weeks, or 2 months. Again, these things are very important. In later on, you can make, on the basis of this, you can make an argument that how fast, how slow, or how the parties have acted in the case, or in the formation of contract, or anything. So this becomes a very interesting and very good argument in the moot when you are making an oral presentation. So a good student and good team can only look at that. If the days are like 1 week gap, so if you want to create an impact to say that I did it very fast, I did it in 1 week. So say, for example, if I say 1 week, it sounds like not too long. But if I change it and I say that you took whole 7 days to answer such a short reply, then you say, oh my God, the other side has done so late. He has replied so late. So it's the same thing. We present it in a different way to create the impact. And these are the things the judges and the arbitrator, they like it about the team. And it shows the team is well prepared with the facts and everything. When you read this, apart from that, you will also find a general idea about the time period. For example, they will say before 2006, after 2008, they will say early 2020. These are very long time period has been given. It may not have a very specific thing happening, but it will tell you that during that period, what was the situation. In this year moot, you have that some rules or the general conditions were one type before 2006, but it changed after that. So at least you can make what was the condition before, what was the condition. So you even take note of those time period. So range of the days, 3 weeks, Monday, Tuesday, and this year in one correspondence, Mondays and Tuesdays has appeared over there. So you have to count and think which Monday and which Tuesday they are talking about. So these are the things you need to be careful about that. Now, when you see the documents or the moot problem, particularly the exhibits or the evidence which you see, it is written on the top. It is written that whether that document was sent by email or by fax, by courier, or by the combined mode. This point also you should take note in the chronology of the fax. You must mention that on such and such date, one party send the email to other party, and you can write it down. This one sent by email or by fax, or email and fax and courier, everything you have to say that. Why this mode of communication is important, and particularly this year, it is very important because the issue is whether the two parties have contract or not. So the formation of contract and the law and the rules related to that is sometimes affected by the mode of communication, so that we can find out when the contract was made. So that's why the mode of communication is very easy. And you can use this information in your oral presentation also. For example, you can argue and say that it was an urgent matter, therefore we send it by email. Other person can say, if it was so urgent, then why did you send it by letter? Why did you send by post? It took 2 days time to come to me. If you have sent by email, called me on phone, then we could have resolved it so easily and so fast. So all these arguments related to communication is also important, and you should take note in the chronology when you prepare it. Now, we have find out all the time, date, days, and everything. Now, the important point is that we have to write down a brief note about that, what happened on that day. That is very important. So in that case, when you are getting a document and you pick up the date, it's very easy. When you are reading the email, then you can see what they are talking about. What is the discussion? What is the content? And you can just put it down. If you can summarize it in your own word, then that's fine. Write it down in your own word, no problem. But if you have any difficulty in finding out or putting it in your word, then do one thing. Just copy and paste and put it in your file, in your chronology of facts. Just put it there. In a start, it may look like you are just copying and pasting, but trust me, after some time, when you will understand the facts, when you know how to use it, then you will automatically write it down in your own words. The idea is that we just have to tell what happened on that day. You will also find that on the same day, so many things happened. But that's okay, no problem. All those things, you can put it in the bullet point and just put it there that this thing also happened, this thing also happened, and that thing also happened. Just put it there, no problem in that case. So that's how you can record all the facts. But make sure here, don't be so short or give a summary. Try to do it as much as you can. That doesn't mean you can just copy everything and put everything. Only those important things you put it there. Okay. So say, for example, the parties have said that, thank you very much for meeting me in the conference. Now, on that day, the conference didn't happen. Conference happened sometime earlier. So when you're writing that day, you cannot say that, oh, he thanked about the meeting in conference. You may write it that he thanked, but how it will help you in making any argument on the basis of law or the facts. It will only show that the parties were very courteous, nothing more. So we don't have to pick those facts. We have to pick those facts which are material. For example, it says, on that day, the draft of the contract was sent to the other side. This is important point. In the same email, general conditions of contract was attached and sent. That is the point. You should do that. Okay. So that's how you should pick up your facts. Doesn't matter. 2 things, 3 things, whatever number of events happen, you just use bullet point and put it over there. So that's how you record all the things which happen on a particular day. But when you are doing it, it's very important to remember one thing. Say this year, you have 45 pages and you are recording something. Then immediately after that, when you are writing the events, put a reference that where is this letter? You write the page number, which is very, very good, because next time when you want to look at, you can see the page number. So you see page number and the paragraph number. If you want to write, you can write it. Sometimes you may have to write it both, para and page number. Maybe 2